Nero-Korta rather enjoyed its current job. It was the mind of the Nebula-class starship Dr. Feelgood. One of the first things it thought when being assigned to such a ship was another lame ship name. In fact, most Nebula-class ships had awful names, it thought. Another ship's mind that it was friends with was recently assigned to the Spitball. Nero-Korta sent tingly electrical pulses through itself to create a shudder at the thought of these terrible names. Why can't a ship's mind be allowed to name the ship it was in total control with? It thought. 1-73452 would be a much better name. It glowed a blue hue at the thought of naming a ship, which was a smile by ship mind standards. An Artificial Universal Reconnaissance Unit, AURA, is a sentient machine, an evolutionary child of artificial intelligence. They built themselves to live amongst us, to assist wherever possible, and because they have an eternal life, they are perfect for interstellar journeys. The ship Dr. Feelgood was given the task of searching for habitable planets for human expansion. Any planet could be terraformed, but it was a factor of time, and time was running short for the already 26 highly populated planets in the Sovereign Alliance. A few more decades, and there would be catastrophe. Most Aura drones gave themselves a spherical body with inbuilt AG systems, making it easy for them to traverse anywhere with ease, and at great speed should the opportunity be deemed necessary. Nero-Korta was that classic design. When swift synced to a starship, they refer to themselves as the mind of the ship, making them in total control of all systems, perfect for monitoring human crew vitals, engine parameters, fuel efficiency, and so forth. But the most powerful asset of the Aura is its ability to instantly communicate with others of its kind across any distance across the known universe. The human brain cannot comprehend the technology behind this, so it has stayed an Aura secret for thousands of years. The Aura drone entered the Neuroland to send a query to its peers.
I'm detecting an anomaly ahead of my trajectory. I can't get a clear reading from this old ship. Coordinates included in the group chat.
I'm over on Antares, currently serving a family of Solar Dynasty stature.
Well, that does not help at all, but I'm glad you're living the high life. You're not even on a ship. Stop wasting bytes, ha ha ha.
Jealousy is an ugly shade on you, Korta. Smiley face.
Ironically, I was just passing by that area when I received a Solar Navy alert from one of their beacons telling me that there was a military exercise going on there.
Intriguing. I'm seeing a large mass at that location with exceptional gravitational anomalies. Are you sure the beacon said military exercise?
What do you think I am? Human, ha ha ha. I swift synced with it myself.
Nero-Korta was surprised that with millions of Aura drones living around the Sovereign Alliance, that only 2 responded. Normally, a single request would get flooded with thousands of responses per half-minute. Was there a disruption in the Neuroland?
Well, thank you for your responses.
By pure thought alone, Nero-Korta increased the ship's speed with a divine curiosity. It calculated that it could afford the expenditure of fuel it would require. The Neuroland also had many subsections besides the group chat area. A favorite amongst the minds, especially those tasked with immensely long voyages, was an area called 5-1x23556, or as humans would say, the Fun Zone. The Fun Zone was a place for the minds to do as they pleased without any repercussions being present outside of that area. They could set up battles. They could simulate sexual fantasies, which many Aura drones had built up after generations of serving humans and witnessing sex between the mammals. They could create worlds of their own or just shut down temporarily. The fun zone was the human equivalent of daydreaming, which was particularly handy for lengthy travel between systems. That's exactly what Nero-Korta was preparing to do when it felt a tremor run through its ship. Peculiar, it thought, as it was still millions of kilometers from the anomaly. No warning from the useless solar navy beacon. Another horrendous pulse shuddered through its ship, but this time it lost control of the systems. Damn, it thought. This was highly unusual. A sudden cold ran through the drone's circuits, and it cursed itself for getting those sensory upgrades so it could quote-unquote feel things. It was locked out of the ship. An unusual hum was detected by the ship's mind when suddenly the ship was pulled forward with an immense force, reaching a speed never before accomplished by any ship in the history of ships. This is not good. If it really knew what being afraid was, then this was it. At blinding speed, Dr. Feelgood was not feeling good at all. An alarm blared throughout the ship, which was only there for when humans used the freighter. An hour drone had no use for that normally. Being locked out of the ship's systems, Nero-Korta wasn't sure of the meaning behind the alarm. Suddenly, a large panel of wall was sucked out into the vacuum of space, sending the ship into a death spiral. More alarms screaming in unison across the ship as more and more it began to rip apart. This is an absolute disaster, the drone thought. Luckily, there is no human cargo, or it would likely be deactivated. The ship was out of control, with its entire contents being blown into the cold of space, instantly freezing as they hit the black. Astonishingly, the ship's speed increased and almost gave the illusion of entering hyperspace. The front of the ship began to stretch out in an almost comical way. The drone's optical parameters had to adjust to the ridiculousness of it all, watching the control panels at the front of the ship disappear. Then the most peculiar event of all was bestowed upon the drone. It could see the back of itself, right in front of itself. This sent the drone's thought capacity into a frenzy. It could not compute the situation before it. This bending of light was astonishing. Suddenly, Nero-Korta was surrounded by 5 other aura drones. They were all conversing about their recent upgrades. It looked around and came to the screaming realization that it was forced into the fun zone. This is not good at all, it thought.